Hey, folks, this podcast is brought to you by Parlay Play Fantasy Sports. Use my referral code RotoBrady. Get that sweet, sweet deposit bonus. They got paid contests coming to a state near you. They're giving out boosts and bonuses, slashing lines all day long. Check it out. It's a real fun platform over there. And what is up, everybody? This is Brady Grove bringing you another interlude episode of the Tap That MMA podcast. Again, it was a UFC off week last week. Back to more normal business this week. Follow me on Twitter at RotoBrady and on Instagram at RotoBrady MMA. Follow the podcast at Tap That MMA Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon. And with me this evening.
She stands 5 feet 2 inches tall, and she weighed in at 105 pounds. From Boston, Massachusetts, she's representing Rajasi Muay Thai and Citadel. Makes a noise for Emily Sing Petch Crown.
She is a 4-6 amateur Muay Thai fighter on a fantastic streak over the last couple of years. Give it up for Emily Crown. Emily, thank you so much for being here. How's it going tonight?
Thank you. I'm good, thank you.
So, Emily, there's not like a proper amount of biographical information on Tapology. How old are you, first off?
I'm 22.
Okay, so you've actually been fighting amateur Muay Thai, since right at the age of 18, it seems then.
Yes, yeah. As soon as I turned 18, I started fighting.
Was that kind of the plan? Like, oh my God, I can't wait to be 18 so that I can like start fighting and taking that like as seriously as possible.
Yeah, my parents wouldn't let me fight, so I had to wait till I was 18.
So how long has that been in the works? Like what is your background in training up to the point of when you started competition?
Yeah. So I started in self-defense at a karate dojo. And I guess when I was around, I would say I was around 12, 13, my current coach and my current team, they started training at the dojo. And I saw them training and I was like, wow, that looks really cool. So I started training with them about once a week. So then for the next couple years, I went there like once, twice a week. And then after that was when it really started getting serious. And I started training every day.
What do you think has appealed to you so much more about Muay Thai up to this point than any of the other combat sports disciplines?
Mhm. Number one, I always say I love the respect that Muay Thai has. I think it's a really beautiful sport, from the Y crew to the end of the fight where everyone just gives appreciation, shows appreciation for their opponent. I think it's just such a great community. I also love how intense it is. I've loved working out since I was really little. And I think part of why I was so fascinated with it in the beginning was just the grueling training. I was like, wow, this is cool, like pushing your body to the limits.
Especially like sparring. Like I love jujitsu, but sparring in Muay Thai it definitely like scratches a different itch for me than rolling in jujitsu. Like it's hard to explain to people, I guess, who don't enjoy that, but it's like it is a different thing. And like for how popular like people just kind of as a hobby or like a little bit more getting into jujitsu is nowadays. It is definitely a different vibe in Muay Thai at that point than it is for Jiu-Jitsu.
Hmm. Yeah, I've never tried jujitsu, but yeah.
So with your amateur career started April of 2022, and you were young and those were your first competitive fights. It got off to a little bit of a rocky start, but those were going the distance. There were several split decisions where the outcome was really close. What did you learn over the course of that first like 5 fights in your career before you got your first amateur win?
Oh yeah, I learned so much. I think part of, well, I like to think I have a really good mindset right now. And I think part of why it is so good is because I did have kind of a rocky start. A bunch of decisions didn't go my way. And whether I thought it should have or shouldn't have. Like at the end of the day, that was the result. So it's like, okay, what can I learn from this? How can I better myself? What do I need to do to make sure that next time it does go my way and, the judges do see it my way? I need to make it so, one-sided that they can't give it to the other person. But it also just, I feel like because I started off with a lot of losses, there wasn't really much to lose. Going into the next fights, I was like, well, I have all these losses, like nothing to lose. I need to prove to everyone that I can, that I can do this, that I'm good. I'm here to win. I always show up to win. But at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, if I go in there and I have fun and I do my best and I know that I put my best foot forward and that's really all I can do.
And the thing is, like, in those amateur fights of that format, like, 3 2-minute rounds, like, or whatever it ends up being, like, that's such a short amount of time, like, to one, it benefits people so much to start with their foot on the gas in that situation. There's so little time in the fight. But, the margins of a fight that goes the distance, like, naturally, those are going to be some really close outcomes because there's so little time to separate yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
So what do you think, like technically over? Because well, I guess, folks, here's the thing. Since those first five fights, she has now won four out of her last five fights, including three in a row, and the FFP Atomweight Amateur Muay Thai Championship back on December 6th. So now, like, you've got a fantastic rhythm going, especially since November of 2024, after what is now your last loss as an amateur, which is now March of 2024. We're closing up on 2 years ago now, since your last loss. What do you think have been the biggest adjustments that you've made that have because you've gotten a split decision, you've gotten some unanimous decisions over that stretch. You're winning the closer fights now. What do you think are the biggest adjustments that have led to that?
Yeah. Honestly, I just think the experience from all the fights I've had just accumulated. I feel like I'm so much, and everyone's different. Everyone has different things. But for me personally, I'm so comfortable now before getting in the ring, and that it just works so well for me. Like I don't get nervous at all. I'm just excited. Um, and I feel like now I'm better able to kind of just flow with things. Everything doesn't have to be super perfect leading up to the fight, in the fight. I feel like I used to be a little bit of a perfectionist. Like if one thing goes wrong in my like pre-fight routine, it's like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And now I'm much more like, oh, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm in there for 6 minutes. You can do anything for 6 minutes. It doesn't matter if you have bruises or you didn't get enough protein in your last meal.
And so this last fight, just back in December
Mhm.
6th against Melanie Choi, you win by unanimous decision for the FFP Atomweight Championship. That has to be a super like affirming slash confidence builder to, you get through a rocky start to your amateur career and now you hold a promotions title. No matter what title it is, it always has to feel good to have a championship under your belt.
Yeah, it felt really good. It meant a lot to me, especially with my record and everything. I really wanted to not only show myself, but show everyone else that, I belong there and I deserve opportunities like that. So yeah, it felt really great.
And how do you think you handled the like the leap up to that being 5 2-minute rounds as opposed to three?
Mm. Um, I feel like my cardio is it's pretty good. So I wasn't too worried about it. I did we had very short notice for that fight, just a couple weeks in advance. Um, but I like to think that if you want to be the best, you have to be the best at all times. So of course, always ready to take a fight. Um, but so it wasn't a huge adjustment. Me and my team, we came up with a game plan. Usually I'm very much go, go, go. And we were like, okay, let's try something different. Let's slow down a little the first couple rounds, really feel things out, move a lot. So yeah.
And now, speaking of, always ready to fight, now you've got your next fight, coming up in 12 days, February 28th at Art of War 9. You're taking on Juliana McDermott. Um, Not a lot on the internet available as to her previous history, other than she does have a cool picture of her holding some Canadian looking belt, like on Tapology. But you're getting right back in there. And so, and this one, if the listing on Tapology is correct, is going to be at a more specific 112 pounds. Now,
Mhm.
interestingly, throughout your career, clearly you're more of an atom weight. Even the catch weight fights that you've had, like a lot of them haven't gone higher than like 110 pounds, it seems. A lot of 106, 107. And so this one being at 112, when I think her last fight is at flyweight, it's an interesting different point to be at. So what do you think about like what kind of weight you'd like to fight at moving forward? Like, are you cool continuing to do the catch weight bouts, or do you want it to be more set in the future to actual like 105, or actually a more specific, like consistent weight? And were there any reservations about a fight at 112 pounds so soon after your most recent fight?
Mhm. Yeah, so 105 pounds is the ideal weight for me. So, like moving forward, that is what I want to fight at. The fighting that's coming up, the weigh-ins are actually on the same day, so it wasn't too much of a problem to be fighting at a heavier weight. I have no idea how much she would be cutting or what, but since it's same day weigh-ins, it's not as big of a deal.
Mhm.
But typically, yeah, I stay around. I like to fight at 105. I have fought a few at 110. Um, I do notice the size difference fighting at 110 sometimes, but I wouldn't turn down a fight if it was offered at 110.
I love the atomweight division in everything, and like in MMA, I want to see so much more of it. But it's kind of like I also love the women's featherweight division, but it's such a challenge for women of that weight class to consistently find fights against people that aren't the same people that they've actually fought before, like in different
Mhm.
promotions. It's a smaller community when you get into those outlier weight classes. It's just going to be harder to find people that comfortably fight at that weight. But interestingly enough, like you have an interesting set of opportunities other people might not moving forward in your career. Like as a professional, like moving forward down the road, there's a lot more opportunities that there would be over in other countries and Ryzen and in one where they have those lighter weight class opportunities. So, as an atom weight, someone who's much more comfortable at 105, looking kind of forward at your career, are those things you think about? Like, okay, like, get as many atom weight fights as an amateur as you can. And like, maybe this is something that we can do in the future.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've actually never really thought about that, because you're right, there aren't too many people fighting at this weight. So it's like, well, I guess I'll just take anything I can get. Um, but I guess yeah, moving into the future, I'd assume that's the weight I'd be fighting at too. So
And who knows if that'll be the case for too much longer. Like the countries that we're seeing participate more and more in MMA from the Middle East, Asia, India's gotten so much bigger into MMA. Those are countries that are going to produce atomweight fighters. So who knows? In another 5, 10 years or so, atomweight could be a division like strawweight was a little bit ago, where it seemed like every prospect coming out of the regional levels was strawweight, and they were just chock full of prospects.
yeah, that's true. I haven't thought about that.
So, Emily, you got your next fight coming up in 12 days. What can people expect to see from you that will be different from the Emily Crown that they have seen leading up to this fight?
Hmm. I wouldn't necessarily say anything super different in terms of just how I'm showing up. I'm just showing up to have fun. I'm going to do my best. Of course, I'm coming on in with the mindset to win, as any fighter would. But yeah, I'm just super excited. Yeah.
Who and real quick, who are your favorite fighters to like watch right now?
So, I don't know. I don't really have any favorite fighters.
I mean, like
I
whether it's something like you watch a lot or a little in object, like there's just so many now and
Yeah,
everywhere. Like you get on your phone, you get on Instagram, and you see a billion different promotions. You see amateur Muay Thai that they're doing in West Virginia, and you see bare knuckle that they're doing in Montana, and it's like there is so much like good stuff out there to watch that whether you have a lot of time for it or a little, how do you narrow down what you like to? So, yeah,
right.
yeah, that can be tough. Well, Emily, this has been a fantastic conversation, and thank you so much for being here. If there's anything else you want to say or anybody you want to shout out, the floor is yours.
Well, just thank you for having me.
Absolutely. No, really excited to see what you do moving forward with your next fight and for the rest of 2026. Best of luck and health to you moving into the next fight. Can't wait to see the result. And folks, thank you so much for listening tonight. This has been another interlude episode of the Tap That MMA podcast. Have yourselves a great week. Look out for what Emily Crown does in the year 2026 and peace.